But let's go ahead. So we're gonna dive right into meditation. It won't go on for too long, so don't worry about that. Perhaps, I don't know, 5 minutes or so. But I'm going to start by describing the meditation posture. And this is like the foundation of getting started with meditation, is having a good posture. I'll describe it to you, but you don't have to follow what I say exactly. It's really about getting as comfortable as you can for your body so that you can focus on your mind. So in general, the traditional meditation posture has 7 points to it. Basically, you're working from your legs upwards. So it's not going to be like you have to memorize them all. And after a while, you're going to get used to it, and you'll just be able to find that posture and just settle into it pretty easily. I'm going to describe it as if you're seated in a chair. Many practitioners, many people prefer just kind of sitting, cross-legged on a cushion, or maybe in what's called virasana. That's with their legs folded underneath them. But I'll describe it seated in a chair because that's more common in our culture, is we're more comfortable in a chair rather than sitting on a floor. So with your legs, you're sitting in a chair and your feet are flat on the floor or a cushion. So we're just working up. The thighs are well supported by the seat. And I think the seat should be firm. Again, just do what you can right now. But it should be firm but comfortable. So your thighs are well supported. And then you're sitting slightly forward so that your back is away from the back of the seat. Now, next we go from the legs to the arms, and your arms can really just be resting. They can be resting in your lap or on your thighs. And what's important here is your shoulders are gently back and gently down. Okay, the traditional posture is like this, with your hands resting in your lap. I have my left hand supporting my right hand and my 2 thumbs touching. This is the traditional posture you'll see. It's what's comfortable. Then we get to the spine, and this is kind of the keystone. I think it's the most important part of the body to really concentrate on, or to really set properly when you're sitting. So your spine is upright, it's strong, but it's relaxed. So kind of like, I like to imagine maybe a stack of heavy gold coins, heavy lustrous gold coins and so your vertebrae are stacked up and in their natural curve. And the spine really is where your energy is. It supports the rest of the body, kind of like a coat tree supports the coats that are loosely hanging on it. That's the spine. And then the eyes. So this will depend on you, on where you are. They can be closed or slightly open. In general, I recommend, if you're just coming back to meditation or you're starting meditation, just close your eyes gently. That helps prevent distraction. The more traditional way is just to close your eyes to a little slit so you can barely see a light coming through the eyelids. But that takes a little bit of practice. And, your eyelids might flutter the first few times you try it, but eventually it'll get to be pretty easy. You can, if you feel like your mind is, if you feel like your mind is like dull or sleepy, you can leave your eyes open, but that's probably the least recommended. I'm giving you options here because it's going to vary person by person. So those are things to try. So your eyes are either closed or slightly open with a downward gaze. Maybe if you're sitting in a seat, maybe as if you were looking 10 feet in front of you. If you're on the floor, 6 feet. And then your lips are lightly touching with your jaw relaxed and your teeth are almost touching. So sort of your jawline and your mouth. The tongue is touching the upper palate behind the front teeth. And this is really for two reasons. Number one, to reduce swallowing, which can be disturbing. So less saliva will flow if you put your tongue there. And then also the pressure of the tongue on the upper palate will also gently stimulate the brain, which helps with, as I mentioned before, sleepiness and dullness. And then finally, your head is slightly inclined forward and your chin is pulled gently in. When I take that posture myself, I almost imagine as if I can feel my spine and just feel it, just the bare minimum of effort there. You just put the effort you need in order to stay upright, and then that's it. Everything else that's not needed to do that, you release. There's an eighth point, and that is, how do you breathe? Well, when you're in the meditation posture, you breathe softly and quietly through your nose while you're settling the mind. I see, from what I can see, you guys look great. So now, if you're all comfortable and there's no questions about the posture, I'll just go ahead and take you through the meditation. This is the first handout. It's called Scanning the Body. So you take your meditation posture and like every meditation we're going to do, it will have 4 parts. It will have calming the mind. You've already started working on that just by taking a seat and a good stable posture. The second part is motivation. Why are we doing this? Then there's the actual meditation, which will be scanning the body, and finally a dedication. That seems like a lot of different parts, but I'll cover this again and again, and I'll explain why a meditation has those parts. It's a traditional format, but there's very specific reasons why we do all of those things. So if you would, make yourself comfortable yet upright, going up from your legs to your arms, to your spine, to your head, which includes your jaw and your lips and your mouth, your tongue, and then your eyes. Put them in the, put them how you prefer right now, and then we'll begin. So this meditation is called Scanning the Body. So focus your attention on your breathing. Breathe naturally. Become present in the moment and the place where you are. What that means is don't have any thoughts about the past, things that might have happened today, or thoughts about the future, what you need to do next. Is there a shopping list? What's on the schedule for tomorrow? Just let all of that go. It may come, but just let it pass like clouds in the sky. Focus on where you are. Are there any sounds in the background? Is it warm? Is it cool? And then just focus the mind on the rising and falling of your shoulders and chest as you inhale and exhale gently. Allow your mind to settle and become calm and present ready to engage in meditation. We've taken the time to calm our mind. That's the first step of meditating. Now we have a motivation. Create an altruistic motivation for the meditation session. Think that you are meditating not just for your own individual benefit, but you are taking the time now to meditate and develop your mind to become a wiser and kinder person, able to benefit yourself and others. The motivation generates the energy and generates the energy and direction for our motivation session. So this is how we kind of energize ourselves and decide where we're going to go. The main body of the meditation comes next, and that's where you focus your attention on your physical body. Just return to your posture and just check again to make sure you've got the most suitable sitting position for meditation. Again, spine straight and erect, and a position in which you can be aware and awake, but not stiff or rigid. Focus your attention on the lowest, most point of your body, where your body is in contact with the earth. Feel the substance and earthy character of your body. Concentrate for a moment on that contact, on the weight and substance of our physical form. Pay attention to the character of your mind, your consciousness, while focusing here. Now, slowly and mindfully move your attention upward through your body. Pay close attention to your physical sensations. Note areas of tension and relax them. Note sensations of coolness or warmth. Note places where one part of your body is touching another. Move upward through your legs, your hips, your hands in your lap. Note the curves of your body's silhouette. Move upward, your belly, your waist, the curves of your arms. Continue to move upward. Notice the rising and falling of your chest with your breathing, the curves of your shoulders. Keep moving upward, slowly, mindfully. Pay special attention to your shoulders, neck, and jaw. If there is tension there, relax those areas. Move still upward, the tilt of your head, until you reach the crown of your head. Allow your attention to rest at your crown for a moment. Pay attention to the character of your mind, your consciousness, while focusing here. Is your mind's character different while concentrating here than it was when you were focusing on the lowermost point of your body? Now, slowly move your attention back downward through your body in the same way. Move slowly, mindfully, noting everything about your body as you move your attention back downward. Bring your attention all the way back down to the cushion or floor or seat where your body is in contact with the earth. Again, focus your concentration at this point and note the character of your consciousness when focusing here. Note the nature of your mind state when concentrating here, and any differences from your mind state when concentrating at your crown. The meditation is complete. The final step in our meditation session is to dedicate. We do that by dedicating your positive energy, insights, and experiences to the well-being and happiness of yourself and all living beings. Well, did anyone have any questions, or did anyone have any experiences they might want to share? Everyone looks very calm. Yay! John.
Stephen, just one thing that I notice when I meditate is this continual number of thoughts that even go through your head, and this struggle sometimes with trying to stay focused. And what I've found, I'm not sure what you'd suggest, but is that it's, thoughts come up. You can't stop them. They will arise, but they arise and they go. And one helpful thing I've found is just to label them, like, oh, just had a thought of such and such, and let it go, rather than try to push it away or stop it. Even really, not so nice thoughts. Just because when I start to meditate, I find actually, especially when I was first starting it, you have all these thoughts, they come up, and then you can get disheartened a little bit if you think, oh, I should be focusing on my knee or and it's, so just an observation, but really I enjoyed doing that, your meditation. So it was quite
Thank you. Yes.
a thing that I noticed in my own self. Yeah.
That's extremely interesting, John. Did anyone else experience what John described? You just raise your hand, or Yeah, Linda, Yvonne. Yeah, that's actually really natural, is to have all kinds of thoughts going through your mind. When you're first getting into meditation or you're coming back to it, it can be like a little bit surprising and even maybe scary, thinking like, I never had all these thoughts before. Where are they coming from now? Why are they happening when I'm meditating? Well, I think really what's happening is that as you meditate, you calm your mind. And remember, we did that first step in a meditation session. We calmed our mind, put our body in a very comfortable but yet attentive posture. And then we were actually just beginning to notice what's happening all the time. John's suggestion is a great one. You can label those thoughts. You can say, oh, this is a thought about tomorrow. This is a thought about something that happened today. Why am I thinking about that slice of pizza in the fridge? I don't know. You can say it's just a thought. And that really helps do it. That helps a couple of things, even just by labeling something as a thought takes away its power. And that can even make it vanish, just saying, that's a thought about that piece of pizza in the fridge, and it will go away. It will help it go away. And that helps quite a bit with repetitive um, ruminations about certain topics. I think we all have them. Um, and then if you just think, well, that's just a thought, sometimes that'll help you just sort of dispense with that and return. But at kind of at a higher level, and I don't want to disappoint you at all, but really, that's what the practice of meditation is. Practice of meditation is noticing when your mind has become distracted, understanding what's happened, analyzing it, dealing with it in many different ways, and we'll discuss those. For example, what John suggested by labeling it, or just looking at it like a cloud and just watch it change and then let it go, just like not giving those stray thoughts any power. And then bringing your attention back to your original motivation, what you decided you wanted to meditate on. That's your choice. No one else can tell you what to meditate on unless you choose to do that yourself. So that was a great comment, John. Thank you very much. Now, what I just said, did that make sense to people? Did it kind of fit with your experience? Yes, Yvonne.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
So you said with a motivation, is that something you should always have when you do a meditation? You should always have that motivation of some kind. Like, I guess I'm just wondering a little bit more about.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, I guess why I hesitated there is, and I'll kind of discuss this a little bit. You can just do the first part of the meditation. Remember, I said there was 4 parts, and the first part was calming the mind. That's where we just got in a comfortable posture and just watched our breath for a little bit and let our body calm down. That's setting your mind in a neutral state so that then we can motivate and make something positive of our session. But what I would say here, and this is going to depend on your experience and what your mind is like. I don't know what your mind is like. I can only meditate in my mind. But depending on what your mind is like, you might just want to do that first part just to relax and calm down and give yourself the treat of just a little bit of, yeah, breathing time, relaxation, just getting rid of tension from your body, just getting in tune with your body where you are. So that's what I'm going to recommend. And especially if you're starting up a practice and want to be consistent about it, maybe you just want to do your meditation practice and just do that first part, just get comfortable, feel good, and then stop your meditation. But as you develop your meditation practice, and that's a really great question, Yvonne, that's actually quite a deep question. Yeah, motivation becomes more and more important because in this particular tradition, you want to relax yourself. You want to just feel good and and comfortable, but then you've got kind of a higher level goal. We'll talk about these goals and what they are and what they mean to us, whether we're Buddhists or not. But you have a higher level goal or motivation. And what that is that's to kind of understand, get familiar with your mind, understand how it works, and maybe even change some of those things about it that you don't like and that you would like to change. In addition, a motivation, what it does is it gives you the energy, because you do need quite a bit of energy in order to concentrate. I mean, one of our other great meditation teachers, his name is Bob Albers. You might have had a class with him. He says, sometimes when you're meditating, this doesn't always happen, and it comes with more advanced practice. But when you're meditating, that might be the time of your day that you're most aware and most attentive. And that takes energy. Did that answer your question, Yvonne? Okay, thank you for asking it. Well, I think what we'll do is, if it's all right with you, John, would you like to, we'll just do a 5-minute break? Break is over. Anyone have any questions or anything that occurred to them while you were taking your break? Okay, that's just fine. You're always welcome to just interrupt, let John know, and we'll get back to you if you do have a question or a comment for us. So now this phase, we'll do a little bit of instruction. You can just relax and listen to me talk about meditation and what just happened to us. Again, feel free to ask any questions. So we'll start with talking about meditation. What is it? Well, it's a huge topic. There's whole bookshelves that have been dedicated to books on meditation. Many religious traditions have their own meditation practices. Meditation can be used for relaxation, just calming yourself. And we did that actually. So we've already begun moving down the path of meditation. In the medical field, meditation is used for the reduction of pain and stress. But what is it? It's more than just sitting and focusing on an object of meditation. It can include activities like reflecting, that is thinking or reasoning, storytelling. It's used in prayer or studying when you want to really absorb a concept or a chain of reasoning, or focusing on a personal project or work tasks, maybe solving problems, visualizing an activity or whatever. Although if those things sound familiar, well, yeah. So in a way, we've all been meditating ourselves all of our lives. It's just, we haven't really looked at it from this perspective, from the perspective of this tradition, and how to structure it a little bit to maybe achieve some different rewards and benefits from meditation. So this tradition comes originally from Tibet, and the Tibetan word for meditation is Gom, G-O-M, and it means becoming familiar. So basically, what it is becoming familiar with how our thoughts, emotions, perceptions, how our analysis works in our mind. From another perspective, The goal is to become more familiar. Like I said, that's the Tibetan name for meditation practice, becoming familiar. So we want to become more familiar with the positive aspects of our mind and less familiar with the negative aspects. More familiar with thoughts that bring happiness and less familiar with the thoughts that bring discomfort. We've experienced this already, and we know there's 4 parts to a meditation session. Anyone like to tell me what the first one is? I think you might be muted, John. Don't mean to put you on the spot there.
Sorry, what was the question?
Question, okay, 4 parts of the meditation session. What's the first?
Oh, it's the motive. Could you hear me?
No, we couldn't hear you.
Oh, motivation.
That's the second. That's the second part. The first part is calming the mind. So there's calming the mind. Then you're right. The second part is motivation. And I talked more about that. The third part is the actual meditation. And we did a guided meditation together. Often you'll choose a meditation yourself and just do it yourself. And then finally, there's the dedication. So calming the mind is just where we get settled. We relax our body and make the mind calm, clear, and attentive. This is really important. And in fact, I feel like it's so important that earlier I suggested if you don't have time, or if you think, I don't want to go through all of those other steps, even just sitting down and calming your mind will be beneficial for you. Even just sitting down and spending 3 minutes or 5 minutes taking your meditation posture and calming your mind will help you out. It will relax you. It will give you a pleasant meditation experience, and that will motivate you to get back onto the cushion the next day. Motivation is the next one. And like I mentioned before, this is where we generate the energy and the direction for our session. And I kind of explained that after Yvonne asked that great question. Then there's the actual meditation. We did that. That's where I guided you through a meditation. And we're going to look at different types of meditations. The one there you could call a mindfulness meditation. What that means, what mindfulness means here in this context, is just where you're open and aware as you let your attention float through your body and experience what you experience, sense what you sense. There'll be other types as well, and we'll go through some of those and we'll do examples of them. And then finally, there's the dedication. This is where we appreciate and rejoice in the positive energy and insight we've created during our meditation session. So we appreciate what we've done, see it as progress towards a worthwhile goal, and we end with a positive feeling. We're going to get into this a few more times and in more depth, but kind of a theme that I heard with many of the participants tonight is that they had tried to meditate, had some success, maybe had consistency for a while, but then dropped off. This is very natural. So we're going to talk about how do you work with habit generation? How do you make a habit out of it so you don't even have to think? You don't even think, you're just there on the cushion because you want to be. And that's one of the reasons why the dedication is so important, is if you leave the cushion, I'm saying the cushion, what I mean is the cushion, the seat, the sofa, wherever you decide you think is best for you to meditate. When you leave that, you leave with a positive feeling. And that is habit reinforcing. We'll talk about that some more in our following classes. In meditation, in this tradition, and in particular in this class, we're going to really work on two fundamental skills. One is concentration. The other is mindfulness. So we're going to come back again and again to these two skills. Concentration is what many people think of as meditation. That's where, hey, how could it be hard, right? Just put your mind there, whether it's on your breathing, a part of your body, whether it's on some kind of, I don't know, a concept, maybe a feeling, an emotion, like a visual image, whatever. Concentration, that's what you put, where you put your mind, because that's where you want it to go, and it just stays there, right? Well, not really. But this is what we aim to develop. We want to improve that. So we'll see again and again as we meditate that our concentration will waver, fluctuate, move around. Well, how do we work with that? How do we work with that positively? And so the definition of this concentration is single pointed attention to an object, the breath, visual object, sound, mental object. And that's where we choose ourselves what we want to meditate on. And then hold our mind there. As kind of sub points about concentration, there's really three key aspects to it: stability, clarity, and intensity. Well, what does that mean? I mean, well, stability, that's pretty obvious, right? That's where when you place your concentration in a certain, on whatever object you choose, it stays there, stable. Then there's clarity. That's when you perceive, when that object that you chose, again, it could be the breath. I think that's a great one to use as an example. When you perceive the object, it's very clear. So it's not kind of all fuzzy or just kind of indistinct, but you can really, really pick up all of the aspects and qualities of that object. And then finally, there's intensity. Another word to use is engagement. So you're strongly engaged with that. We'll come back to those and give more examples and try them out, but just basically, you want your concentration to be stable, that is to stay where you put it, and you want it to be clear. So what you put it on, you can perceive clearly, and then you want to be engaged with that object in an intense or vivid way. Overall, in this tradition, this practice is sometimes called calm abiding or placement meditation. It can also be called meditative stabilization. That's a lot of syllables. In Sanskrit, it's called shamatha, and in Tibetan, it's called shine. But really, it's about concentrating, working with your concentration. It's not always going to be spot on all the time. So how do we work with it and improve it? That's our goal. That's the first goal, is for the skill of concentration. How do we improve that? And in the end, the final destination is that you can take your focus and just let it dwell, let it rest in non-distraction. Now, I'll be honest with you, I am not there yet. I cannot just place my attention and let it stay there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. They say high-level practitioners can rest their attention for up to 4 hours on a single object. I can't even imagine that. But we can work to improve it. And that's the goal. It's almost like there's a certain, I don't know, inertia in the descriptions of it, that after you get good at this, you can just rest your attention on a certain place and really explore whatever it is that you have in your mind. That's the first fundamental skill, concentration. We'll come back to this. You could also use the word attention as well. And who doesn't want to be able to take your attention and put it where you want. First of all, when you do that, we know from our own personal experience that when we do that, you get into kind of a flow, don't you? Like if you're working on a project, it could be an art project or something from work, or you're learning, or you have your attention on a movie or a book, you really get absorbed and time just seems to fly by. And it's a very pleasurable experience. That's what we want to do with attention. We also know that a lot of times our mind, that is our attention, will go to places we do not want it to go. For example, negative thoughts, thoughts that, keep coming up and again, that are just not helpful to us. We know they're not helpful to us. They're harmful and they possibly could harm others as well. So our goal here is, if we can place our attention somewhere else and keep it there, then, well, those thoughts will plague us less, they'll trouble us less. So that is also a long-term goal for concentration. So we have concentration, and that's what we're aiming for. That's the first skill. The second skill, which is a supporting skill, is called mindfulness. The definition here is mindfulness is an inner awareness and observation of the stream of consciousness, thoughts, emotions, whatever you're experiencing in your mind, wherever your concentration is. Sometimes that seems like a strange word to use, concentration, I mean, because our mind can be going all over the place, or it can just be unfocused and lack energy. But really, it's all about concentration. And what mindfulness does is it's our sort of background awareness about the concentration we have. Another word for it is called introspection. And it kind of monitors in the background what's going on in our minds, kind of like we have a spy in our mind or a hall monitor. Another way of thinking of it is it's sort of kind of a secondary sort of background activity that's going on in your mind. I remember there was one nun at the center who she actually gave a percentage of, I think it was 80% of your mental energy is on concentration, on your focus, on the object that you chose. And 20% of your mental energy is in monitoring the aspects or qualities of that concentration. Well, what aspects would those be? They're the stability, clarity, intensity. Am I even on the object I chose? Am I looking at my body, examining the sensations, or am I imagining I'm swimming laps in a pool on the western coast of Australia? I don't know. And then how long have I been imagining swimming laps in a pool on the western coast of Australia? And then what should I do next? Well, okay, that's mindfulness kicking in and saying, all right, okay, your concentration's shot. You need to reel it back in. So again, it's a cool awareness. I use the word cool. I'm not really sure why, but it's just sort of, yeah, it's not in the foreground, but it's kind of in control in a way. Just again, observing, monitoring, and then noticing if the concentration is doing something that you didn't want it to do, and then accepting that happened. Maybe labeling, like John suggested, that's one of the strategies you have. Labeling that stray thought and then returning your attention or your concentration back to the intended object. So those are the two skills. And basically what John described in his meditation experience was just that, is He chose an object, he was focusing, but then these stray thoughts happened. First of all, he noticed that he was not concentrating on whatever he had chosen. And when that came in, then he knew that he had to adjust. And his strategy was to label the stray thought and then return back to the concentration. So it's kind of that cycle is something you're going to experience again and again as you meditate, and that's natural. And that's actually the meditation. And it can be quite interesting. It becomes habitual, easy to do, and then really kind of educational, I would think, as you begin to get to know, become more familiar with your mind, the thought processes, the way the different parts of it work together. These skills, these two skills interact, they're interrelated and complementary. So again, the first one is concentration or attention. You use that to place the mind and let it remain there in a stable, clear, and engaged way. And then mindfulness is the second one. And you use that to identify poor quality concentration, distractions, and then applying what we call the antidotes, the fixes. Are there any questions about that? That it can seem a little bit abstract, but I think if you just sort of keep in the back of your mind the idea that concentration is what we're working on, but also we need to monitor that concentration in order to improve it. And if you just kind of think about that in terms of what's going on in your mind, hopefully that'll help out. Why we want to do that, why we want to be aware of how we're concentrating is meditation is a deliberate practice. That's a specific term that refers to a special type of practice that's purposeful and systematic. So regular practice, well, that regular practice kind of reminds me of when I was in high school and I was trying to learn how to play the trumpet. And so I would do a lot of scales. But I would do the scales because I had to. And it didn't really matter how many scales I did. I didn't get any better because I was just doing them. And so how I would transfer that to our meditation practice is you want to have a certain motivation or certain goals to really be engaged with what's happening in your mind, to become familiar with it, and possibly to improve the two skills of concentration or meditation. So you're deliberately trying to improve what's going on in your mind. So that's kind of a preview of what we're going to get into in the next sessions is a little bit more advanced meditation where, sometimes the meditation session is going to feel challenging. And it may be that you find that improvements come in small steps, unevenly over time. And there might even be ups and downs, the feeling of little or no progress, even backward steps sometimes. But that's what you're going to experience when you're doing deliberate practice and working to improve yourself. It's not going to be a linear, gradual improvement every day. It's like anything else, whether you do physical exercise, whether you're trying to improve the number of laps you can swim in a swimming pool, it's going to be all over the place. So really the secret there is consistent, ideally daily, dedicated practice where you bring energy to your practice and you have some goals. Okay. All right. So I said goals for meditation. Well, what is the purpose of meditation? Well, definitely to gain benefits from it is one of the purposes. I mentioned before, it can offer you a temporary release from stress and confusion in your modern day life. And that's even if we just go through the first step of the meditation session where we calm the mind. We can just get relaxed and just drop off all of that anxiety and stress. At higher levels, it can bring a great deal of pleasure and bliss, and there's certainly some amazing documentation about this in the traditional writings. The skills we develop in meditation, particularly concentration and mindfulness, are helpful in just about any situation that comes up in our daily lives. You can think of examples in your own life when you did feel concentrated and mindful, that is aware. So it's kind of a focus, but like a cool awareness, just in control, just in the flow, just kind of synchronized with everything. That's what we aim to do, is we're developing those two skills, the two critical skills, concentration and mindfulness, to improve our meditation practice. But eventually we want to take them out of the meditation session so that we can access them in our lives. I mean, is there any reason why, if we develop a skill in meditation, why we can't use it elsewhere? So meditation can help us develop our focus, that is concentration, attention, and reduce distraction to remain calm or easily return to calmness. Who doesn't need that nowadays? Yeah. So in that way, it's an antidote to the short-term fragmented attention span, the incessant distractions in today's world. And I mentioned this before, the root of the Tibetan word for meditation, gom, means to become familiar. So it's a way we can calmly and clearly examine and understand our minds from within. We're actually the only people who can really do that. I mean, what I mean by that is only you can really understand what's going on in your mind. So what this does is this lets us connect more deeply to our life, helping us see things more realistically, seeing ourselves and the way we are more realistically, seeing the things that we sense, see the events of our day, see those more realistically too, without the emotional baggage, without the emotional knee-jerk reactions that we had maybe at the time we experienced them. So ultimately, this helps bring peace and calm to our life. In general, relaxing us and reducing stress, both on and off the meditation seat. That's why we're doing this. In particular, for this tradition, the mind itself is often the main focus of meditation. Getting familiar with the mind, understanding how it works, and slowly reducing its negative aspects and strengthening its positive qualities, all to promote well-being in oneself and others. And then meditation is a method also in this tradition to take a superficial understanding of some aspect of what we call Dharma or Buddhist teaching and imprint it deeply into the mind to bring the level of understanding that is called a full realization of some Dharma topic. Really, every Buddhist teaching, I'll just say this one sentence, every Buddhist teaching is both a meditation and a practice. Meditation is how we imprint it in our mind. The time and place for meditation depends on the meditator, your schedule, and your body clock. The recommendation is in the morning, not too early. But really, I think this is the key point, and especially if you want to have a consistent practice. Choose a regular time that fits in with your daily routine. What I mean by that, or what I'm suggesting here, is look at your daily routine, something that is already habitual for you. Look at it and say, where would meditation fit in? Put it in there. Link a habit that you want to promote with one you do already. So you have a cue. And then if you're restarting or starting a practice, start really small with each session, just a few minutes. And then to make that as easy as possible, so you don't have to think, just set up a calm, pleasant environment for your meditation practice. Just a small area where you can clean and declutter. You can even use the cleaning and decluttering as a routine to help settle your mind prior to a meditation session. And so this place, wherever you choose, is going to have minimal distractions, quiet and subdued lighting, inspirational objects. They can be anything. Whatever just makes you feel good and positive. People you're close to, animals you're close to. And then finally, a comfortable seat. Experiment with that. So what I'll do, we're getting towards 8:30, and if it's okay, if anyone needs to go right at 8:30, because that's when we said we'd end, then you can go. But what I'd suggest is we'll do one more exercise, one more brief 5-minute meditation. Is that okay with everyone? Okay. So again, look at your 7-point meditation posture. Just to refresh your mind, you'll be seated in a chair. If you're more comfortable sitting on the floor, please go ahead and do that. Your legs are flat on the floor on a cushion. Your thighs are well supported by the seat. You're sitting slightly forward. That was slightly forward on the seat so that your back is not resting on anything. Your arms, just rest them in your lap or on your thighs. And relax your shoulders, down and back, just natural. Spine, most important, upright, strong, relaxed, having its natural curve. Energize it a little bit. The eyes are closed. They may be slightly open if you prefer that, or if you want just slight stimulation. It's getting late, maybe you're feeling tired. You can have your eyes slightly open. With your lips touching, your jaw relaxed. Again, relax your face. Even put a little smile on your face if you like. The tongue touches the upper palate behind the front teeth. And then your head is slightly inclined forward. Your chin is gently pulled in. Now we'll begin the meditation. It will have 4 parts. It'll take about 5 minutes for us to do. The first part of the meditation is calming the mind. Just focus your attention on your breathing. Make your body comfortable. If you have to squirm a little bit, squirm. Breathe naturally, softly and quietly. And just focus your mind on the rising and falling of your shoulders and chest as you inhale and exhale gently. Allow your mind to settle and become calm, present, ready to engage in meditation. Step 1, calming the mind. Step 2, motivation. This is where we energize and set the direction for our brief meditation session. Create an altruistic motivation for your session. Think that you are meditating for your own individual benefit to make yourself a better person. And you're also taking the time now to meditate and develop your mind to help others as well by being a good person and helping them. That's the motivation. Step 3, the main body of the meditation. Start by focusing your attention at the opening of the nostrils. So just feel the air enter the opening of your nostrils when you inhale and leave the opening of your nostrils as you exhale. Just keep your attention right there. As we talked about, your attention will move, but just note it, label it, let it go, and gently return your attention to your nostrils. As you inhale and exhale, mentally count each inhalation and exhalation together. So inhale, exhale, 1. Count from 1 to 10, concentrating on the sensations. When you reach 10, begin again at 1. Now, this is crucial. If you become distracted, which is very natural, if your mind wanders to other things and moves away from the point of concentration, then begin again at 1. Even if you never get past 2, it is not a problem. The point is to train your mind to focus on 1 point only. This concentration can take some practice to attain. Well, there's an understatement. Again and again, just follow the very natural process, focusing on your desired point of concentration that is at your nostrils. Naturally enough, the mind will get distracted. Notice that. Don't judge, just accept. Briefly note, label the distracting thought. Let it go. And then bring the attention gently back to the desired object, the object that you chose. That is the meditation. The third part of our meditation session. Finally, the fourth, the dedication. Dedicate your positive energy and insights. Think about all the wonderful work you did tonight, all the things you learned, all the work you did to begin to become familiar with your mind. Take all of that positive energy and accomplishment. Really feel it. And then dedicate it to the well-being of yourself, to your happiness, and the well-being of all others and their happiness. The session is done. Well, thank you very much for your patience, letting me go over a little bit. Were there any questions or observations? So